Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Thank you so much for joining us for what is already a busy Monday night, and we're going to cover a lot over the next 60 minutes. Donald Trump returning to the political spotlight like a rodent on Groundhog Day. I couldn't help myself. Though with a little less shine on him than he may have liked. We've got that. Also, analysis on Trump and the GOP from a former Republican Congressman Chris Shays, who joins us this hour. How much of a stranglehold does the Donald still have? Plus, new allegations against New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Got the details, and we'll debate what the future holds for the now embattled, but at least as of now, popular Democrat. Plus, the very latest on the $2 trillion stimulus package making its way through Congress, with any hopes to raise the minimum wage now all but dashed. But let's begin with the return of Donald J. Trump, the former president ending his exile at this weekend's CPAC conservative conference in Orlando. It was like he never left. Insults, attacks, crudity, and hate, and of course, the big election lie.
The Democrats used the China virus as an excuse to change all of the election rules without the approval of their state legislatures, making it therefore illegal. We have a very sick and corrupt electoral process that must be fixed immediately. This election was rigged, and the Supreme Court and other courts didn't want to do anything about it.
Not letting it go. For more on Trump, what he said, the reception he got, which wasn't as singly focused on him as he may have wanted to be, I want to bring in senior political correspondent Andrew Whitman.
And Rich, if you were having a little deja vu yesterday, you're not alone. To watch Trump on Sunday, you'd almost never know that his much hyped return came just 5 weeks after leaving office, 7 weeks after the Capitol riot, and just over 2 weeks since his acquittal at his second impeachment trial.
Because the flag still stands for
former President Donald Trump returning to center stage.
Well, thank you very much, and hello, CPAC. Do you miss me yet? Do you miss me?
Addressing a largely maskless crowd at a conservative conference in Florida, teasing another run.
And I want you to know that I'm going to continue to fight right by your side. I may even decide to beat them for a third time, okay?
Telling Republicans he still wants to lead, still pushing the lie the election was stolen. It's his first speech since being acquitted in his second impeachment trial, accused of inciting the violent insurrection at the Capitol.
We have the Republican Party. It's going to unite and be stronger than ever before.
But this Trump show in Florida today, a reminder of his popularity in the party. Eager supporters lining up to take photos with this golden statue of the former president.
We want to see our president.
A Quinnipiac poll this month shows 3/4 of Republicans still want Trump to play a prominent role in the party going forward.
Donald J. Trump ain't going anywhere.
Leader of the conservative movement, the leader of the American First movement, the leader of the Republican Party.
Not there this weekend, several top Republicans, including Trump's own Vice President Mike Pence, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, and third-ranking GOP member in the House, Liz Cheney. Cheney, one of 10 House Republicans who voted to impeach the former president 6 weeks ago. A reminder, GOP leadership in Washington divided on whether Trump should lead.
I don't believe that he should be playing a role in the future of the party or the country.
Other Republicans, including Louisiana's Bill Cassidy, who voted to convict Trump, saying this conference and Trump do not represent the whole party.
We've got to win in 2 years. We've got to win in 4 years. If we do that, we'll do that by speaking to those issues that are important to the American people. And there's a lot of issues important to them right now, not by putting one person on a pedestal.
Now, the former president did make some actual headlines during the speech, including tamping down any talk of him forming a third party.
They kept saying, he's going to start a brand new party. We have the Republican Party. It's going to unite and be stronger than ever before. I am not starting a new party.
Trump also predicted big GOP wins in the 2022 midterms, then did what he does best, putting his name into the mix for 2024 without actually putting his name into the mix for 2024.
We will take back the House. We will win the Senate. And then a Republican president will make a triumphant return to the White House. And I wonder who that will be.
Perhaps someone whose name rhymes with Grump, perchance? And as Republicans complain Joe Biden isn't being unifying enough, Trump brought an enemies list with him to CPAC. Now, during the speech, Trump named every Republican member of Congress and the House in the Senate who voted for his impeachment or removal. He called them grandstanders and said hopefully voters will, quote, get rid of them all. So everyone on his enemies list is a Republican who voted in favor of impeachment, some dirty laundry on the line for all to see. But if Trump was hoping that CPAC would be more like a coronation, well, it wasn't. Surprisingly, just 68% of CPAC attendees said in their straw poll that they want Trump to run again in 2024. There's some reporting that Trump was angry over that showing. Still, nearly all attendees say they want the GOP to, quote, advance the Trump agenda, whatever that is. Trump also won the overall straw poll, getting 55% of the vote. Home state Florida Governor Ron DeSantis came in second. Then again, no one else hit double digits. Poor Mike Pence polled 1%. With Trump not as an option, DeSantis won the poll, again helped by the fact that Florida hosted the event. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem came in second, followed by Junior Trump, Pompeo, and Cruz. Mike Pence again polled at just 1%. A couple of things we need to point out. Number one, that CPAC does not equal the Republican Party. These are, for the most part, wealthy and active diehards, not really the base. In national polling, only 59% think Trump should play a major role in the party going forward, much less as their nominee. Though the national poll, or through the national poll for the 2024 primary, was close to the straw poll, it has Trump at 54%, followed by Mike Pence, who does better there than he did at CPAC, with no other Republicans in double digits. Second reminder, we still don't know if Trump will be eligible to run again in 2024. There remain at least 6 active or potential criminal investigations into Trump as we speak. The Justice Department on the causes of the riot, the Inspector General at Justice, with actions helping overturn the election, the district attorney in D.C.'s investigation of the riot, plus all the individual criminal investigations. The DA in Atlanta's Fulton County is investigating election interference. The Manhattan DA is investigating Trump's tax and financial records. And the New York State Attorney General is investigating Trump's charities. And of course, Rich, there could be more. Just give it a day or two.
My conversation with the judge on Friday seemed to think bet the over on more probes here, Andrew. Thank you. And as mentioned earlier, joining us on set tonight, good friend to the program, former Connecticut Congressman Chris Shays, who one time was the last known Republican in Congress from New England. Okay, we're going to break this into 3 parts, and I want to get the riots from your perspective as we go somewhere next segment, and then the future of the GOP. But let's start, Chris, where the party that you called home, the state of it right now. Andrew laid out, I think, a pretty effectively the polling in that room in Orlando for CPAC, more broadly for the Republican Party. Yes, he is by far the biggest figure in the Republican Party. But do Republicans fear him wisely, or are they overestimating just how much appetite there still is for him in Republican circles?
I don't think he has the ability to elect, but he has the ability to defeat, and that's what they fear. And he would be willing to defeat a Republican in a primary, help a Republican win against that individual, and not care if that individual ultimately wins the general election. I mean, I do think it's huge that he said he's not going to start a third party. He could change tomorrow on that. But the reason is he thinks the Republican Party is his party. Why would he? And, you know, when he calls people Republicans in name only, I mean, the people that he went after, they're just not Trumpers. And so, you know, let's see what happens. I do think, I mean, it was painful to listen for 3 hours to CPAC because they invent things. Noem's talked about how successful she was in, you know, in South Dakota.
And highest fatality rate per capita in the country.
Yeah, the second highest in the country.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're Republicans, and maybe politicians from both sides are willing to invent things and now get away with it. Trump's taught them that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what did I think Trump did that made sense? He talked about a number of issues that he felt he was responsible for that I know a majority of Republicans care about. They care about immigration, for instance. I think they care about energy. So, you know, President Biden, who I, you know, deeply respect and supported, has taken on a few issues that Trump will look really good on.
If Trump can maintain a message discipline, I just don't think he ever can. And again, we'll talk about the future value, but I believe he will be so bruised from both the investigative element and also from the business element. But I was really looking forward to getting your perspective on a few things. One of which is, can we guys play the soundbite from Mitch McConnell the night of the 6th? I'm sorry, the night after the impeachment vote came down. He was not one of the Republicans who voted to impeach President Trump, but he made it clear where he thought fault lied.
The mob was fed lies. They were provoked by the president and other powerful people.
That was a blistering address that he went on. I even remember the night of the 6th, McCarthy made it clear that he thought.
Both of them did.
But McCarthy capitulated. McConnell kind of, sort of. He said if he's the nominee for the party, he'll vote for him again after he blamed him for literally an insurrection on the national Capitol. Do you believe that Republicans are going to look and say, Liz Cheney, you know what? She got it right. She took the risk, her and Kinzinger and the rest, the limited group of courageous folks. And I think it took courage to do what they did.
Especially
and they held
for
their
her
ground.
Coming from Wyoming.
And she held her ground, and it's going to work for her. Or do you think right now the rest, with cowardly calculations, made the right political choice? Not moral, but political one.
I don't think they made the long-term right political decision. They made what may be the short-term, but they did it out of what they felt was necessity in their own district because they don't want to have a primary. When I voted against impeaching Bill Clinton, 29 of my 30 town committee people, officials in New Canaan, wanted me to vote to impeach, and then I had a primary. So, primaries are awful.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see the pain still on your face for that. All right. Well, one thing we do know is awful is what happened on January 6th. And when we come back, I want to ask, Chris, because for all of us, we saw those horrible images, but for Andrew, my guest here, Chris can say he called that chamber home for many years. That was the people's house, but it was also where he worked. When we come back, we're going to talk about the riots, the ramifications, the long-lasting damage it's done here, and the inflection point that we are in American politics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.